Hi, everyone. Parents, this is for you. I just wanted to let you know that when I'm taking in the survey results, I'm finding that a lot of you, the biggest thing is just knowing what to expect and when. And I know that the schedule that we were handed was not very specific, and I know that it did not give you a lot of information. So I went ahead and I've essentially made a week of it at a glance. This is kind of my lesson planning template that I'm just handing to you so you know what's coming. Okay. And as I kind of go through it, I just want to explain to you how a typical day is being translated into remote learning. Because remember, in a typical day here in the classroom, we have work and time set aside for managing 24 students at one time, and cooperative play and centers. State of Washington and our district, we really advocate for play-based learning. And at home, that's a really hard thing to translate. Okay, so when you see that we have slides games, that's what we're trying to implement. We're trying to keep it fun, we're trying to keep it moving, and we are trying to keep it short because we know that they need to keep moving throughout their day. They still have other things to do, but it is very meaningful and very intentional. Okay, so the other piece about the slides is that we want to make sure that this work is equitable for everyone. Not everyone has a printer. Not everyone has ink or paper. It's an expensive thing to have. So if I can make everything digital, then I know that every kid has their work. Okay. So one thing you will see starting next week, because I have had parents ask for more pen to paper, is next week when we get into curriculum, there will be more PDFs that I can attach into those slides. So expect an extra slide at the end probably, or it'll just be an additional content in your assignment. I haven't worked out exactly how that's going to look. But that way, if you have access to a printer and you would prefer for them to be cutting and gluing and coloring, which would be great fine motor skills versus working the Chromebook, you will have that option. So just so you know, right now, this week, we had some curriculum pieces, but everything's kind of been self-created just to get us into a routine and getting into expectations of work and things. But next week, we are diving into our reading and our math wholeheartedly. So you will have more structured work and some more of that pen to paper available to you. Okay. But let's just take a second and go over our calendar just so you can kind of see how you should be reading it, what information you can gain from it, and just kind of why we're doing it that way. Okay, so this first chunk right here is our morning meeting. Okay, that is every morning. It is so important, especially now that I can't greet them at the door, now that I can't see them if they're coming in kind of pouty, and I can't say, hey, how are you doing today? Is there something you want to talk about? I think it's going to be really important for us on the screen to make sure that I can connect and build those relationships through that morning meeting by greeting everyone and by having a couple of share outs so everybody still feels connected through our Zoom, okay? Then from there, we have our social emotional learning lesson. Now, this first one's going to be about some strong feelings. This is a curriculum. We are officially in lessons for this. So you might see some puppets. I've got some puppet friends that are going to come out. We're going to talk about some very realistic things. Normally in the class, I would have 24 children looking at me and 24 children trying to contain and work through their emotions is a big deal. So we very explicitly teach how to handle those things because it's necessary. And I have also heard from a lot of you that, especially during COVID-19, that you have seen some behaviors change and some feelings change. So just know that it's very typical. That's what we see across the board. We know as adults, we're seeing the same thing. We're stressed and on edge because we're limited in what we can do. So I think these group lessons are going to be very important. Okay. So if you see us really focusing on these, that's why. Now we'll have 2 lessons a week, but then the rest of them will be these group activities. So it might be a song. It might be a bingo type game, like touch the sad face on the screen. Anything like that that can just get them thinking about those strong emotions and identifying their emotions so they can then learn to better manage them. Okay. Now, if you are ever dealing with my live slides and you see that portion, since these are normally games and not just an explicit lesson, you may just have talking points. Okay, just something to kind of start a conversation with your child. All right, and it's just meant to do that, start a conversation. Okay. Now, after that, we have our foundational skills. You'll notice that I'm trying to put in a video before we even start that, just to get our wiggles out. I would do that in class 2, or we would get up and move. An hour from 8:10 to 9:10, very long. And I wouldn't do that in the classroom. It just wouldn't happen. In this one time frame, we would have morning announcements, and then we would have a recess in there actually too, just to get them out to start their day. Then we would come back. So just so you know, we know it's a long block. We're just trying to do the best. So if you see me going a little crazy up here, it's because I'm just trying to keep everybody's attention and get it in. So these foundational skills, this week you saw that it was like 3 items a day that just kind of touched on some major pieces. It will become more of a drills and skills type thing. They'll be short, they'll be quick, they'll be to the point, then we'll jump onto the next skill. Then it'll be short and quick and to the point, and then we'll jump onto the next skill. These are kind of those foundational reading skills that we just need in place. So we just do those quick little drills and we'll be good to go. Okay. You will see that every week we do have a letter of the week. We do have a sight word of the week. Towards the end of the year, we'll start getting 2 sight words a week. Okay. So just so you know, you'll see that the letter M is there again. Our reading, our ELA actually takes the first week and extends it over 2, just so we can kind of ease them into it. Okay. So if you see a lot of the same material this week, that's why. We're just easing them into the material because we know that some of this can be difficult to manage in their little brains. Okay. Then you'll see that we should stay on the same routines. Okay. Starting Wednesday of the week, we'll introduce a book, a decodable book, which is essentially, it'll have our sight word and then some words that kind of go along with our routines and what we're learning for our reading. So you'll see that kind of pop in on Wednesday. Then we'll dedicate some good time to it Thursday, and then we'll review it on Friday. The reason we don't put it until Wednesday is because it gives us Monday and Tuesday to build those base skills. Okay. And you will always have these digitally available to you. So you can make a copy to your drive and create your own little library that you'll always have. And I've got that written down. Don't worry. We're going to figure out how to get those books into your own little library so you always have them. Okay. Now, this is student and family support time. That is going to be open for my one-on-one meetings. If I don't have a one-on-one meeting with you, this is intended to be a break. Now, you did see today I ended the Zoom. There may be times I need to take a phone call. I'm answering texts. I'm trying to support you guys as best I can during that time. Even if I have a one-on-one, I can still help you during that time. I'll have a couple minutes on either end to kind of field those questions. But it is a break for the child, okay? They just sat down for an hour. They need to go play. They need to go move. Please don't have them doing anything, sitting at the table and working at that time, just because when we come back for that big lesson, if they're already done, they're just done. And then I'm not going to be able to reach them for that lesson. So please let them go play. If your child is at daycare, that's another reason I just turned the Zoom off, because it was hard for me to communicate with all of the caregivers that yes, they are on break. Please just let them go. So this may be something, if you have someone else doing your child's learning right now, based on your family's needs, making sure that they actually get this playtime. Okay. I know other kids might be learning at that time, and they don't want to disrupt, but man, they need to move. Okay. After that, we're going to have our core content lessons. Now, to make sure we got everything in, it's going to alternate days. We're going to have math 2 days a week. Monday, Wednesday. We're going to have ELA, our reading, Tuesday, Thursday, okay? Starting in October, we will have an explicit science lesson. Until we have those started, Friday's going to be a mixed content day, and it's going to be anything that I feel that we needed to review, or anything that I feel like we needed to double dip into, anything like that. So expect a mixed content day on that day. So you can see right here what to expect. We'll do a number talk with math, and then this is exactly what we'll be working on for that day. So creating groups, numbers 1 through 5. If you are concerned that this isn't hard enough or too much work, just know that we are going to be adding in, you'll see in the asynchronous, you do have other options available to you. Okay, your Imagine Math is going to be your biggest extension, but we're also going to offer some play center ideas, some play-based learning for you throughout the week. Okay, so these will be out of your math journals. We'll teach it, and then you'll work out of your math journals after that. You'll see that our reading, these ELA lessons will be definitely, since we have the drills and skills before, will be more of that meat and potatoes of listening to a story, comprehending a story, book handling, stuff like that, which is kind of hard right now. We're getting a lot better at muting and unmuting and sharing out, so I'm hoping with this it will start to simplify. Okay, then we'll get back to math, doing a number talk and creating groups that match 1 to 5. Then we'll get back to reading, and then we'll work explicitly on that Man on the Moon book. Okay, that's our first big decodable that actually has words in it. Okay, so it's going to be great. Okay, and you will have that available to you, so you can practice over the weekend, whatever you want to do. Okay, and just remember, Friday is that mixed day. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, if we only do math 2 days a week, how are we going to make sure that we get in that practice every day? So we have our asynchronous work. Oh, nope, I got ahead of myself. Sorry, let's roll that back. We do have a small group time right here. What that's going to be is I'm actually going to set up a schedule, because that is blocked out for your learning, and I'm going to schedule small groups for those days. We have 5 days, we have 24 children, so it'll be about 5 kids that I would want to stay on the Zoom, just so they can work through their morning work with me. Okay, and then if they need any additional help, say maybe they need something a little bit bigger, maybe something a little smaller, depending on what your child needs. Just remember, being a 5 and a 6-year-old is a huge spectrum developmentally. What's appropriate for one may not be appropriate for another. So this is the time I'm gonna try to meet you and your child on their level. Okay, so expect that schedule to be forming next week and be put in place. Okay. I know that it's kind of frustrating us with the trickle in with the schedules, but this is definitely a flexible situation. And I need to see and get to know kind of our children before I start popping them into things together. And also, your schedule may be tough. You may only get to like 10, 15, and then you've got to go to work. And maybe your kid needs to go to the babysitter or to daycare. So we want to make sure that we're just being flexible for everyone, so that way I can help everyone. Okay, we don't want to leave anyone behind. So you will have a small group being scheduled there. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Then you will have your morning work. So I've just kind of given you an overview of what you should be doing. So your morning work is going to coincide with your core lesson. If we did math for our lesson, you should be doing math for your morning work. If you're doing reading for your content lesson, you should be doing reading for your morning work. Okay, it supplements the lesson. What else could I say about that? I think we're good. So essentially, some of this in the journals, it's going to be pen to paper. If it's out of the reading curriculum, it might have a PDF that goes to it, but I've just translated it into a game. Now, that being said, if they have the pen to paper and they are writing, coloring, cutting, gluing, anything like that, that activity surely is going to go longer than a drag and drop game. Okay, so if you feel like they're flying through that work, just know but you don't have a printer available to you, just know it's still okay. They're still getting the content, they're still getting the material, they're still doing the work. It's just on a different platform, okay? And just remember, you will have those PDFs available to you should you choose to print those for the week. Now, if your child is at daycare or with a different caregiver, I'm going to try to post those with the week at a glance. I'm going to try to get them out at least by Monday morning. That way, maybe they'll have their journal on Monday anyway with slides, right? So you should be good. Then if you need to print for your caregiver, you'll have it for the rest of the week, okay? So I'm going to make myself a note there just to make sure that I follow through on what I just told you. I don't want to let you down on that. Then you have your big break in your lunch, and it is intended to be that way. You can push in your independent work after that morning work time, but that's up to you and what you think is appropriate for your child, okay? That break is there for a reason, especially for kids who are hungry, hangry, and tired, okay? So let them have the break if they need it. Then you have your asynchronous time. Now I'm going to back up and show you something. If we have a math day, the afternoon is going to be more like their ELA day. If they have an ELA day, their afternoon work is going to be more like their math work, okay? In a normal classroom, we would teach SEL, reading, and math all in one day. So this is how we're trying to fit all of that in, okay? So just know this is going to stair step a little bit. So if we teach something on Monday, we're going to review it on Tuesday in the afternoon. If we teach it on Tuesday, we're going to review it on Wednesday in the afternoon. And if there's something that I need to teach on Thursday that I'm worried needs something to prop it up, I'm going to try to put that in the afternoon before, so you kind of have that content before we even go into it to preview it, okay? So your asynchronous time, just remember that 1 to 2, we're starting with family meetings, but where I have those gaps, we're going to put in small groups, okay? Now, this is more when kids are available, okay? During that morning work time, I will schedule those beginning ones, those small groups, but in the afternoon time, those small groups, I'm going to leave those to who needs what, because I know some of you are working split day schedules. So I'll put out a schedule. You sign up for a time that you want. I can work with your child, and it'll be up to like 3 kids in the group probably, just so we can get in an extra meeting, just for them to specifically work on their work. So if you have a one-on-one scheduled for Monday, maybe pick a small group for them on a Wednesday, just so they kind of get a good flow throughout the week. So those small groups will be coming. You'll have a sign up for that coming out Monday. You should, okay? We'll have those small groups during that time, those one-on-one family meetings at that time. A lot of families, after a couple of weeks, decide they don't want one-on-ones anymore. They feel like, okay, no, I feel like we're good to go now. I'm good with a parent survey. And thank you for your honest answers on our survey. It's helping me process and create. So thank you for that. Then your independent work, I've kind of laid it out for you. Okay. So remember, if math's on Monday, you're going to have math afternoon work on Tuesday to kind of review. All right. And if there's anything up here that's a worksheet or a PDF, you'll have that available to you to print in that Monday paper. Okay. Then here are your extensions. If you feel like they've gotten through everything and they still need more, you see that this whole time is 12:30 to 2:40. Here is my feeling on that. I would never have them working for 2.5 hours in my classroom, ever. We would never work for more than 40 minutes at a time on anything, and that would be maybe 3 to 4 different activities within 40 minutes. Please don't feel like they need to be sitting down for that amount of time. That is tough. I can't sit there for that long. I would need a break. I would need some movement. So just know that this is blocked out so that you can complete it within that time. Okay. So especially if you have somebody who's with a caregiver and a daycare, and they're very concerned about that time being filled, that in my classroom, if they had already finished their work in that 40-minute section and they knocked it out and rocked it, I would let them go play, because they're 5 and that's what we do and that's what they need, and they have that socialization piece. So what I'm going to say to that, in that asynchronous time, in that independent work time, let them do their work. You can give them these extensions if you want to, if you feel like they need them, maybe they want them. Epic and Imagine Math are awesome. They're going to want to play. But we are not expecting your child to be working from 12:30 to 2:40, in no way, shape, or form. This is just a blocked out time just for you guys to get that work done. Okay? So if you have a family meeting with me and then you have a small group with me, that's already going to push you out to almost 2 o'clock. That's just fine. Okay, so please just communicate, especially if you have a caregiver, that this is not meant to be sit down and stare at the computer for 2.5 hours. This is just blocked out for you to work. That's all it is. Okay, then if you feel like you need more, you're going to have these extensions. Ooh, I highlighted everything. These extensions right here. Okay, you have Epic available to you. I have found out that because the entire nation is using Epic, after 4 p.m., you will be limited on what you can do. Okay, it's meant to be a school-based thing. You have Imagine Math that you can use whenever you want. It gives you an entrance assessment, and then it lets you, it essentially bumps you up if you need harder work. It bumps you down if you need a little bit more support. So it is completely self-guided and safe, so you can let your kid roll on that. The read alouds are meant to supplement as well. I would normally read 3 or 4 books in a day. So please know, if it's like, oh, we only had 3 things to do in our independent work, but then we had read alouds, that's what we would do in school. Okay. And then you're also going to have this center work. So every week we're going to send out some, it'll be attached to that first week, hopefully with this at a glance, kind of with those PDFs as well. This is how we would teach through play. So you guys are getting your learning tubs. So you do have some materials in there, but also just with your toys at home. It may be, go find 5 toys. It may be, can you go build with 10 Lego bricks? That would be really hard, but just an example. This would be how we would teach through play. So you'll have a couple of ideas to extend within your child's normal play, because that is just so important. Okay, so just know we are trying, we do have that big spectrum. We're trying to get everybody exactly what they need, and that, remember that this is temporary. It's meant to be temporary, right? It's not typical. It's not what we would normally do. It is temporary, and we will get back to where we need to be as soon as we can. So I know that this was long, but I wanted to get the opportunity to just share this with you. I think it will answer a lot of questions for you as to the how and why of what we do, and kind of help you picture our week a little bit better. So please know that if you have any questions surrounding any of this, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, the best thing we can do is have a conversation. All right, your kid is your shining light, and you want the best for them, and they deserve the best. Okay, so if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, thanks.